I never thought a birthday card could destroy everything. I never thought a birthday card could destroy everything. It was just a simple envelope on the kitchen counter, tucked under a coffee mug. My wife, Laura, always forgot where she placed things, so at first, I didn't think anything of it. It wasn't even my birthday. But something about the way it was hidden, not quite out in the open, not quite tucked away, made me curious. And that curiosity, it ruined my life. We were the kind of couple people envied. Married 15 years, 2 kids, a golden retriever, and a nice home in a quiet suburb outside Denver. I worked in marketing, Laura taught 3rd grade. We weren't rich, but we had stability. Laughter. Family game nights. Church on Sundays. All the boxes were checked. But that morning, something felt off. Laura had been quieter lately, always on her phone, smiling at texts she'd quickly swipe away. I chalked it up to end-of-the-year stress at school. Teachers have it rough. But that card, it was addressed in handwriting I didn't recognize. A man's handwriting. And it wasn't for me. It was for her. To my L, it read on the outside. My stomach dropped. I stared at it for a while before the front door creaked open. "Morning, babe," Laura said, dropping her keys into the bowl. She smelled like cinnamon and coffee. Her cheeks were flushed, too flushed for a 5-minute grocery run. "Hey, you got a card," I said, holding it up. Her face froze. Just for a second. But I caught it. "Oh. Ah, that must be from one of my students' parents. You know how they are, always sending stuff," she said, too quickly. She reached out for it. I pulled it back. "Really? It says to my L, is that how they address you now?" She snatched it from my hand, aggressively. I said, "It's nothing, David. Drop it." That wasn't like her. Laura didn't snap like that. And in that second, I knew, this wasn't just a card. This was something deeper. Something dangerous. Later that night, after she fell asleep, I opened the card. I know, I shouldn't have. But something inside me was screaming. Screaming not to ignore it. The handwriting inside was as elegant as it was gut-wrenching. "Happy birthday, my love. Counting the days until you're mine completely. Every moment without you feels like a lie. M. M. Who the hell was M? My heart was pounding so hard I could barely breathe. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at my wife as she slept. Peacefully. Like everything was fine. Like she wasn't tearing our family apart in secret. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I called in sick and followed her to work. Yeah, I know, crazy. But I needed to see something. Anything. She parked in the school lot like usual, waved to a colleague, smiled that same warm smile, and then walked across the street to a coffee shop. 5 minutes later, a man walked in after her. Mid-40s. Athletic. Confident. Wearing a black North Face jacket. They sat together. Too close. They laughed. He touched her hand. She didn't pull away. Then she kissed him. It wasn't a friendly kiss. It was the kind of kiss you give someone when your whole world revolves around them. My stomach turned. I snapped a picture through the window and walked away, barely able to think. My hands were shaking. The woman I'd built a life with was in love with someone else. And she hadn't said a word. Back at home, I sat in silence until the kids got home from school. Emma's braces were hurting. Liam forgot his science book. I went through the motions like nothing had changed. Like I wasn't falling apart inside. That night, I confronted her. "Who is M?" I asked, placing the photo on the table. She didn't deny it. She didn't even cry. She just stared at the picture. "His name is Marcus," she said. "We met last summer during teacher training." I didn't mean for it to happen, David. Didn't mean for what to happen. For you to lie to me. Cheat. Let me tuck our kids in while you kissed someone else. It wasn't just a fling, she whispered. It became real. I didn't expect it. I stood up. My legs were trembling. So what now? Are you leaving me? She looked away. I don't know. That hurt more than anything. The indecision. After 15 years together, I wasn't even worth a clear answer. The next morning, Marcus showed up at my house. Laura wasn't home. The kids were at school. I opened the door, and there he was, confident, polished, smug. "David, right," he said. "Can we talk?" I didn't say anything. I just want to be honest. I didn't plan to fall for Laura. But I love her. And she loves me. I clenched my fists. He continued, "She's confused, sure. But I know what she wants. You can drag this out, or you can accept the truth." I laughed. "The truth? The truth is, you're a homewrecker who thinks love gives you a free pass." He shrugged. "People fall out of love all the time. It's not a crime. That did it." I slammed the door in his face. That night, I asked Laura to leave. I told her she needed time, alone, to figure things out without destroying our kids in the process. She moved into a friend's guest house the next day. Emma cried herself to sleep. Liam stopped speaking for a week. I was a single dad overnight. But strangely, as painful as it was, there was clarity. I wasn't in the dark anymore. I wasn't holding on to a lie. 3 weeks later, I got a call from Laura's sister, Jenna. "She's in the hospital," she said. "It's bad. You should come." I dropped everything and rushed to the ER. Marcus had been driving. He'd fallen asleep at the wheel. Laura was lucky to be alive. When I saw her in that hospital bed, bruised, bandaged, and crying, I didn't see a cheater. I saw the woman I'd once loved. The mother of my children. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "I made a terrible mistake." Tears welled in my eyes. "I don't know if we can fix this," I said softly. "But I'm not going to let you go through this alone." Laura was in the hospital for 5 days. I visited every single one. I brought her favorite magazines, helped her adjust her pillows, even snuck in coffee she wasn't supposed to have. The kids came too, awkward and quiet at first, but eventually, Emma climbed into bed beside her mom and read to her from a book about time-traveling cats. That made Laura smile more than I'd seen in weeks. We didn't talk about Marcus. Not once. Not while she was in pain, not while she was hooked up to machines. But it hung in the air between us, like a shadow that wouldn't leave, even in the fluorescent hospital light. On her last day, when the nurse finally said she could go home, Laura looked at me with puffy, tired eyes. "Thank you," she said quietly. "For not walking away completely." I nodded. I didn't know what to say. I'd rehearsed so many speeches, about betrayal, about anger, about what she'd done to our family. But in that moment, they all felt hollow. "I'm not back," I said. "Not yet. I'm here because you're the mother of my children. And because I'm not ready to hate you." She blinked, and a single tear rolled down her cheek. "I don't expect anything," she whispered. "But I still love you, David." I didn't answer. Not because I didn't love her. But because I didn't know if I could trust myself to say it back. Laura moved in with her sister Jenna for recovery. I stayed home with the kids. Life became strangely mechanical. Morning alarms, cereal bowls, school runs, work Zoom calls. In some ways, it was simpler than the emotional chaos we'd been living in. But it was also lonelier. Then, one evening, a letter arrived in the mail. Handwritten. No return address. I opened it with shaking hands. "David. You deserve the truth I never had the courage to say aloud." Marcus wasn't the first. It started years ago, small lies, little things I told myself didn't matter. A text from an old friend. Drinks with a coworker. But Marcus, he was the one I couldn't lie about anymore. I got lost. Somewhere along the way, I stopped seeing myself in our life. And I'm so sorry. If you can forgive me, I'll spend the rest of my life earning it. But if you can't, I'll understand. Laura. I read it twice. 3 times. I sat down at the kitchen table, the same place she'd once hidden that cursed card, and stared into the dim light above. I didn't know what forgiveness looked like yet. But I knew this: the woman I married was still somewhere inside her. The woman who tucked in our kids, who used to dance with me in the kitchen, who made up terrible songs about vegetables just to get Liam to eat them. She was still there. Buried beneath the guilt, the mistakes, and the consequences. The following weekend, we sat down with the kids. Laura came over, walking slowly, still sore. The kids ran to her like nothing had ever happened. We had pizza in the living room, all four of us. It felt strange. Like wearing clothes that no longer fit but were too full of memories to throw away. After dinner, Laura asked to speak to them alone. I gave them space. She told them the truth, age-appropriate, gentle, but honest. That she and I were going through something hard. That sometimes adults hurt each other, even when they don't mean to. And that no matter what, she would never stop being their mom. When I came back, Liam was curled up in her lap. Emma looked thoughtful but not angry. It was the most peace I'd seen in our house in months. A few days later, I got an unexpected call at work. "Mr. Carter? This is Detective Hollis from the Lakewood PD. I'm following up on a disturbance report filed last week. Do you know a Marcus Bell?" I froze. "Yes," I said. "Why?" "We received a complaint from a neighbor at your wife's sister's address. Apparently, Mr. Bell showed up there intoxicated and started yelling. There was no violence, but it was enough to scare the occupants. We've issued a formal warning." I felt my blood run cold. He had come back. Laura hadn't told me. That night, I drove straight to Jenna's house. Laura opened the door and looked startled to see me. "You didn't tell me Marcus showed up," I said. She looked down, ashamed. "I didn't want to worry you. Jenna called the police, and they took care of it. He's not coming back." "You're sure?" She nodded. "I blocked him. He's out of my life, David. Completely." For the first time, I saw fear in her eyes, not of me, not of the situation, but of herself. Of her own judgment. She was finally scared of the consequences. And strangely, that's when I started to believe her. Over the next few weeks, we began therapy, separately at first. I needed to work through the betrayal, the anger, the humiliation. Laura needed to understand why she'd sought something outside our marriage in the first place. Our therapist, Dr. Morales, didn't take sides. She asked questions that dug deep, about our families, our roles, our expectations. I confessed things too. That I'd stopped really seeing Laura. That I'd become so consumed with being a provider that I forgot to be a partner. We were both broken in different ways. And healing, it turned out, wasn't about one apology or one moment. It was about showing up. Over and over again. One Saturday, the kids were at a birthday party, and Laura and I ended up in the kitchen, just the two of us, like old times. I was chopping vegetables. She was making pasta sauce. We weren't talking about therapy. Or Marcus. Or anything heavy. She looked over and smiled. "What?" I asked, wiping my hands. "You're still cute when you chop things like you're in a cooking competition," she said with a laugh. I laughed too. It felt good. Real. She got quiet for a second. "I know I don't deserve another chance," she said. "But I'd like to try. As friends. As co-parents. Maybe, eventually more." I took a breath. "I'm not making promises," I said. "But I'm still here. That has to count for something." She nodded, and for the first time in a long time, her smile wasn't hiding anything. 3 months passed. No drama. No surprises. Just two people slowly learning how to trust again. One evening, I came home to find a new card on the counter. Same spot as before. My heart stopped, but this one was different. It had my name on it. I opened it. "David. Thank you for not giving up on me. On us. I know we have a long way to go. But I believe in what we were, and what we can still become. This time, no lies. No secrets. Just love. L." I smiled. And for the first time in a long time, it felt real. I didn't say, "I forgive you." Not because I didn't want to, but because forgiveness, I'd learned, wasn't a door you walked through once. It was a hallway you traveled every day, one small, aching step at a time. But things were better. We were talking again, not just about the kids or the house, but about music, memories, stupid things we used to argue about, like how I always left cabinet doors open or how she hummed off-key without realizing it. We weren't back together. But we weren't apart anymore either. There was a thread tying us again, invisible but undeniable. Then came the dinner party. It was a small gathering at Jenna's place. Just a few friends, some neighbors, good food and wine. Laura insisted I come. She said it'd be nice to be around people who didn't know what we were going through. For most of the night, it actually worked. We laughed. Ate too many appetizers. Talked about TV shows and vacation plans. Laura sat beside me, not too close, not too far. We moved like two people who remembered each other's rhythm, just enough to make it look easy. But of course, it couldn't stay that way. Near the end of the night, a woman I didn't recognize pulled Laura aside. I couldn't hear much, but I caught one word, Marcus. Laura's face changed. Tightened. She forced a smile and quickly ended the conversation. But I saw it. That flicker. That shadow. When we got in the car, I didn't say anything right away. Neither did she. Halfway home, I asked, "What did she say?" Laura hesitated. That Marcus got a job in Denver. That he's leaving town. I gripped the wheel a little tighter. And nothing, she said quietly. I haven't spoken to him. I won't. Then why did your face change? She looked out the window. Because I'm ashamed that a part of me felt relief. Not because I miss him, but because maybe people will finally stop looking at me like I'm broken glass. That hit harder than I expected. The next morning, I took the kids out for pancakes. Laura stayed home. While Liam smothered his waffles in syrup and Emma told me a story about a boy in her class who thought Pluto was still a planet, I got a text. From Laura. He just showed up. I didn't let him in. But he's outside. I froze. My blood went cold. I told the kids we had to cut breakfast short, packed up the leftovers, and drove home like the steering wheel was on fire. When I pulled up, Marcus was standing at the bottom of the driveway. Hands in his pockets. Looking like a man who'd lost everything and was still trying to pretend he hadn't. I got out. Calm, but ready. Leave, I said. Now. I just want to talk to her, he said. Just 5 minutes. No. She doesn't owe you anything. You need to go. He looked past me, toward the house. I made a mistake. I stepped in front of him. We all did. But she's done with you. And so am I. To my surprise, he didn't argue. He just nodded, turned, and walked away. When I went inside, Laura was sitting on the stairs, hands shaking. He didn't try anything, she said. He just stood there. I locked the door the second I saw him. I sat beside her. For the first time, I took her hand. You did the right thing, I said. She nodded. I wanted to tell him I hated him. But I didn't. Because I don't. Not really. I looked at her. She wasn't excusing him. She was just exhausted. Done. 2 weeks passed without incident. No Marcus. No more dinner parties. Therapy continued. And then something unexpected happened. Emma came home from school with a drawing. It was our family, stick figures with big smiles, but there were only 3 of us, me, her, and Liam. I asked her about it. I didn't know if I should draw Mommy, she said. I don't know where she lives now. That was the moment Laura and I realized we couldn't live in limbo forever. Not for us, but for them. That night, after they went to bed, I sat across from Laura in the living room. We need to figure this out, I said. For real. No more half-steps. She looked terrified. Like I might finally say I was done. Instead, I said, I want to try. Really try. But we do it my way. That means transparency. Honesty. All of it. She swallowed hard. Okay. We take it slow. We don't move back in together tomorrow. But we make a plan. Weekly therapy. Dates. We rebuild, from the bottom up. She nodded. You still love me? I hesitated. Yes. But that's not enough. Not anymore. She reached across the table and touched my hand. Then let's earn the rest. It wasn't a romantic reunion. There were no violins, no dramatic kisses in the rain. It was awkward. Stilted. But it was real. Our first official date was a walk through the farmer's market downtown. No pressure. No expectations. Just us. We sampled honey, held cups of cider, and talked about old road trips and what vegetables the kids hated most. We ended up sitting on a bench, people watching. Laura turned to me. Do you ever think, maybe this was supposed to happen? I looked at her. You mean the affair? No. I mean, the breakdown. The wake-up call. Maybe we had to lose each other to realize how far we drifted. I thought about that for a while. Maybe. Or maybe we just forgot how to fight for each other. She smiled. Then let's remember. One night, not long after that, Emma got sick. Fever, chills, the whole thing. Laura stayed over. She sat by Emma's bed for hours, wet cloth on her forehead, singing lullabies like she used to when Emma was a baby. At 2 a.m., when Emma finally fell asleep, Laura came downstairs. She looked exhausted. And beautiful. Can I stay on the couch? She asked. Just for tonight. I nodded. Of course. I brought her a blanket, watched her curl up, and started to walk away. But something made me stop. I turned around. I don't know how this ends, I said. But I'm glad we're still writing it. Her eyes welled up. Me too. And for the first time, when I went to bed, I didn't feel like half a person anymore. I felt whole. You don't really notice the exact moment things stop hurting. It's not like a switch flips. It's more like waking up one morning and realizing the weight in your chest isn't as heavy. That the silence between you isn't as sharp. That the person who shattered your world is now sitting across the table, trying to build you a new one. That's how it felt. A month after Laura spent the night on the couch, we had our first family outing. Just the four of us, me, Laura, Liam, and Emma, at the zoo. Emma wore her pink cat ears. Liam wanted to pet every animal. And Laura. She stayed close. She held Emma's hand. She laughed like she hadn't in months. I caught her looking at me when she thought I wasn't watching. Something had shifted. For the better. Later that night, after we put the kids to bed, we sat on the back porch. I know it's been slow, she said, but this, today, felt like us again. I nodded. It did. I think I'm ready to come home. The words caught me off guard. But not in a bad way. I've been thinking the same thing, I said. But not just for the kids. For us. She looked down. I don't deserve this, you know. Your patience. Your kindness. Maybe not, I said gently. But you're earning it. Every day. She let out a breath. So, we do this. I reached out, took her hand. We do. The day she moved back in, it rained. Of course it did. We carried boxes while Emma danced barefoot on the porch and Liam declared he was now, officially the boss of the house. It wasn't dramatic. No speeches. No music swelling in the background. Just a woman unpacking clothes, a man setting up her favorite coffee mug again, and two kids who finally didn't have to ask which house they were sleeping at tonight. It felt right. But rebuilding trust isn't about moving back in. It's about showing up, over and over, when no one's clapping for you. There were still hard days. Still moments where I'd see her texting and feel a flicker of fear. She'd notice, pause, and show me the screen without being asked. It mattered. Little things always do. 6 months later, Laura got a job offer, teaching art part-time at the elementary school down the road. It made her light up in a way I hadn't seen since before Marcus. I want to say yes, she said. But I'm scared. Of what? I asked. Of having something for myself again. Of being happy and messing it all up. I smiled. You deserve to be happy. Take the job. She did. And on her first day, I surprised her with flowers at the front desk. She blushed like a teenager. It was the first time in a long time I'd seen her cheeks turn red just because of me. Then came the wedding invitation. No, not ours. That was still a distant maybe. It was Jenna's. She was getting married in Colorado, and she wanted both of us there. A weekend getaway. No kids. Just us, the mountains, and the ghost of everything that once broke us. Laura was nervous. What if people stare, she asked. What if they judge? I shrugged. Let them. So we went. The first night, after the rehearsal dinner, we walked outside beneath a sky so full of stars it didn't look real. I used to hate silence, she whispered. After everything happened. It was too loud. Too full of things I didn't want to hear. And now? I asked. She turned to me. Now it feels like peace. I didn't say anything. I just kissed her. Slow. Steady. Honest. And she kissed me back like she meant it. The night before we left, we sat on the cabin's little wooden porch. Wrapped in a blanket, sipping cheap red wine. I think I love you more now than I ever did before, she said softly. Even after all this. Because of all this, she whispered. We didn't need to say more. Back home, things didn't magically stay perfect. Life never works like that. Liam broke his arm playing soccer. Emma cut her own bangs and looked like a tiny scarecrow for 3 weeks. Laura and I had dumb arguments about who left dishes in the sink or which Netflix show to binge next. But the difference was, we fought together now. Not against each other. We had a second anniversary, of sorts. The day she moved back in. We went to the same little Italian restaurant we used to love. Ordered the same meals. Sat at the same table. And when dessert came, Laura reached into her purse and handed me a small, folded piece of paper. It was a letter. Handwritten. Just for me. I'll never forget what it said. You didn't just forgive me. You reminded me how to forgive myself. You didn't rescue me. You walked beside me while I found my own way back. I'll never stop walking with you. Love. Laura. I looked up, tears in my eyes, and she smiled. We broke apart, she said. But maybe we were never supposed to be perfect. Just honest. Just real. I reached across the table and held her hand. No more running. No more secrets. No more, maybe someday. She shook her head. Just us. Here. Now. And somehow, through all the pain, through every shattered piece and silent night, we'd found our way back. Not to who we used to be. But to who we were always meant to become, together.